Howdy, wild cards. We've got a great show for you tonight, starting in about a half an hour with our horror at Headstone Hill Actual play. And in just a minute, you'll get to meet Lily, who plays Ada Baker on that show. But right before then, as long as I got you for a minute, we have a full week of streaming this week. So today is the Horror at Headstone Hill pre-show. And then tomorrow at this same time, so everything's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern starting. Tomorrow on Tuesday, we're going to have the Peg Pathfinder team. So in case you haven't noticed, we're doing the Curse of the Crimson Throne and the Advanced Player's Guide, and that's on Kickstarter now, going amazing. I think it's over $100,000 and over 1,000 backers, which is the number we really appreciate. So if you guys have questions for our Pathfinder development team, we'll be on tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then on Wednesday, we have a very special guest, James Jacobs, the author of Curse of the Crimson Throne. He'll be on to talk more in depth about his inspiration and how he wrote that Curse of the Crimson campaign actual play, one of the greatest campaigns Pies has put out. And then on Thursday, we are kicking off our Savage Worlds Summer Showcase. And what the Summer Showcase is, it will be all of the non-Pinnacle Savage Worlds creators. So it'll be our aces, our swag, and our media network. And hopefully for each of these shows, we will have at least one representative from each of those communities on to show off the amazing things they create for you. And our hosts for that are going to be Harlan Guthrie and Joe Falak. And they are just recently back from their honeymoon. So congratulations to them. And they're going to be our hosts to run us through the Summer Showcase. So I do believe this week it's going to be... I think our swag creator is Alb, who is behind Big Apple Sewer Samurai on the swag program, and he'll show us his next release, Big Bad Wolf. The Battle Lords of the 23rd century, those folks will be on as our aces. They've got a Kickstarter going on right now, so if you can go check that out, the Battle Lords of the 23rd century for Savage Worlds. So they'll be on to show off some of the awesomeness for that. And then for the media network, we have the Knights of the Dinnersmith Table. So that'll be this Thursday. So that's really the news, guys. A whole lot going on this week. Check out our newsletter tomorrow. But yeah, we've got all Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We are streaming for you guys. And but to get through, we got an interview coming up right now with Lily, and we will get to that right away. So thanks, Rob. Appreciate you being on. And of course, more people would watch, but the if I were prettier, we'd have more people here. So it's my fault, Rob. How's it going? And yes, this is on Twitch too. So this is on twitch.tv/Peg Inc. And we multicast to YouTube and Facebook and Twitch all at the same time. But this is on Twitch right now. And then when we're done with the half an hour interview with Lily, we will just raid on over to the iconic production channel that's going to be on Twitch for episode 4 of Horror at Headstone Hill. So that's where we're at, guys. And hopefully you guys enjoy the interview. And we'll see you every day this week except Friday. Woohoo! Howdy, wildcards. We are back for the pre-show for Hell on the High Plains. Today's show. Welcome, JM and Lily. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Howdy.
So, JM, we've already had 3 episodes down. Tell us what happened in episode 3, They Swallow Your Soul, which is great. Great title, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I had some real Evil Dead vibes when the crawling shadows pulled Leslie into the cellar, and I've been rewatching Ash versus the Evil Dead as a way to prepare for the Deadlands game, and so it just seemed appropriate. But we had a big fight with the shadows around the Headstone Nugget. We saw Leslie and Bob kind of understand how the huckster works. And there were 2 different deals with the devils that were done, which was great. Sister May showed up.
2 in 1 episode is fantastic.
Yeah. And the chat was able to basically fuel the second one because somebody in the chat was awarded a Benny who then was like, ooh, if Bob wants to deal with the devil,
Yeah. That was totally John Doom. He's troublemaker all over the place. Give that guy a Benny and he will find when to use it.
Oh, that was great. So the group found the Headstone Nugget. They found Reeg's suit and badge and the strange key. And
which means like wherever he is, he's not wearing clothing. So
that's right.
That's going to be fun when you find him.
Yeah, there's a naked Agent Reeg running around somewhere. So they had their confrontation with Heaston, got some information, and in one of the additional subplots, because Ada, played by Lily, is hunting the Little Rock
Regulars.
gang. Yeah, and Little Rock irregulars. And we've also discovered that our Harrowed, played by Rook, that Wickers has a vengeance thread in here as well. So we ended with Wickers having tracked this guy who we don't know what's going on with him yet. That'll be revealed at the start of the episode, who is attacking Prospector Bob, which is just
leave Bob alone.
Leave Bob alone. Come on. So that's where we're going to start off. We're going to start off with this, a couple of rounds of vengeance, and then the rest of the group shows up, and we'll see where the night takes us. But we're almost done with Act 1. I'm pretty sure we'll finish up Act 1 tonight. And then when we come back in June or July, we're going to take the 4th of July off. We'll be starting into Act 2 of the adventure.
Yes, fantastic. So Lily, love your character. You got a fun character because she's bringing some baggage with her. Like there's already plot hooks galore and walking in. I think even in the very first episode, the whole stagecoach thing was a little complicated because Lily's or Ada Baker's got some vengeance going on. So tell us about your character, Ada.
So I decided to return to my gaming roots and play a little bit of a tank for this game. And so I thought it would be fun. Several of us have decided that we maybe need some vengeance plot lines, obviously, but it's been good. And I think it'll add some depth to this game, which I know isn't going to be a long running program. So it'll be great.
Awesome. So tell us about yourself. Like, how did you first get into RPGs? And then what was your first Savage Worlds experience?
JM and his wife actually got me into RPGs.
Enablers! I knew it.
I know. I knit with his wife when we all lived in Colorado. And she asked me, she was like, hey, we think it would be fun if you came and joined us for this campaign that we're going to do for a different, just a game in their home. It was prior to JM's, current empire of streaming games.
In my own mind.
Right. In my mind as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just playing in their basement, and I had never played RPGs before, but I'm a nerd and I have a nerdy background. So I was familiar with the idea, but it's just been a lot of fun. That was probably 4-ish years ago, and it's been all downhill from there. James was so kind to invite me to play in the streaming games. First year of the COVID, when we thought everything was going to be shut down for a couple of weeks, he was like, "Hey, we're going to do a couple of streaming games remotely. Do you want to play with us?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I mean, I had just moved and I didn't have anything going on, so it's been good. But he just keeps inviting me back, and I keep joining in.
So that's awesome. So under 4 years from like newbie to celebrity, like online.
That's right.
Right. Like that's good.
Our first game with her was the Dark Eye, which I feel was a little unfair, but Lily just jumped right in and played a dwarf hedge knight named Duracia, and got the nickname Duracia the Hammer, and it was great. And since then, she's been on the Torg game, she's been on the Fading Suns game. Always a fan favorite.
Perfect. Yes, I mean, very, very on point. So my theory is that like Ming from Flash Gordon, like every good villain has to be bald and have awesome facial hair, and so that's what JM and my is like. That's our aesthetic. We're definitely rocking that. But apparently, Mr. Enabler over here just decides that everybody he meets has to get into RPGs, which is kind of perfect for the position he's in as like ambassador for all things Torg. And so we're glad you're in the fold. So is this the first time you're playing Savage Worlds or Deadlands in this stream?
Yes, this is the first time. I wasn't familiar with the Enterprise before, but the Wild West with a little bit of steampunk in it is very much in my interest in terms of settings. So it's been great.
Nice. What do you think about the mechanics? Like, I mean, like from fan favorites, like the things we all love are like card initiative, exploding dice. Those are like the really kind of fun swinging things. So that usually is a difference between other systems. Like, how are you finding how Savage Worlds runs, and does it meet your expectations?
Yeah, I love the wild card die. I think that's a really interesting dynamic. I've played, like Jan said, we played a couple of different systems. And so this one has been really interesting. I was recently on the Torg campaign, and so I am familiar with the exploding dice, but the mechanic with the different multi-sided dice is a lot more interesting, because with Torg, it's just the 20s and 10s that explode.
Yeah.
And it's a much better chance if it's 1 out of 6.
Right? Yes. The Savage Worlds, the wild dice, something that a lot of new players is like. It's usually hard to figure out when you start, because you're like, wait, am I adding here, or is it no? It's like 2 separate paths, and they're like, okay, but what's the purpose? When you see the numbers behind it, but just, when you feel it and play, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. And the other third thing is the jokers, and that's always really exciting when people get jokers and get bonuses and can go whenever they want. And there's been some good Joker action in the show so far. So on the adventure, let's talk about the adventure. So Ada has yet to truly get her vengeance, but do you think she's going to be able to achieve that before the end of the series?
I certainly hope so. I think we're headed that direction. I mean, we're certainly being pointed at the Little Rock Irregulars to go wipe them out a little bit. It seems like Wickers and Ada might not be entirely on diverging paths with regard to their vengeance. So should be pretty interesting. But it depends on who's playing. It depends on what comes up, and I think we'll see. Nice.
So the let's see, big genre outside of the show questions. What are your other favorite RPGs to play? Like, what kind of settings do you really like? You mentioned that you really like some Wild West with a little cybertech, whatever, not cybertech, but clockwork stuff, steampunk. That's the word that was evading my head. And so, what are your other favorite genres to play in?
So like I said, I just played the Torg game. That one's a lot of fun because you get to play a bunch of different genres, and one of the first ones we did with Torg was very steampunk, very a little weird. So that was good. I really enjoyed playing 13th Age, which I don't know, JM, have you been streaming any 13th Age games?
Not for a while.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But we played that one in his basement as well. And that one, the mechanics are really fun because depending on what you roll, you get instead of the GM just telling you, okay, well, the impact of that is this. He's like, okay, well, you've rolled this, so you get, to pick something that happens to them that's like minorly inconvenient.
Yeah,
it was very entertaining for the group that we had playing.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the wonderful thing about RPGs, right? Is like the diversity of settings, and then the diversity of crunch just makes for very unique experiences kind of across the board. So I assume since JM got you into role playing, he also is the one who dragged you into streaming. What do you think is any major differences between games you get to play where no one else is watching versus games you play that are being streamed? What do you think about that experience?
For myself, I'm more cognizant of like we need to move the story along when we're playing a campaign that's streamed, because I mean the folks who are watching, they're always down for us to sidetrack or divert or whatever, but we're trying to tell a story here. But when you're just playing with a bunch of different people and nobody is watching, you can play with the mechanics a little. You can say, I don't really feel like we were beta testing JM's game, and we went down instead of up. And he was like, obviously trying to make us go up. And we were like, absolutely not. We're going down. And he had to build us an entire murder dungeon.
This is the true, like, the curse maybe of game design is you got a great idea in your head if the players would only do X. And the players are like, I am so offended by X. We are never going to touch it. We hear all the 5 different ways you're trying to lead us to X, and we reject all of them summarily, sir. No, we want to go do something else.
Yeah.
And a little story. So there's a really fun game called Castle Falkenstein. Mike Pondsmith, one of the greatest your game designers, did it, and it's very much like Regency Europe with crazy Fae involvement and that kind of stuff, and playing it in GURPS, and our game master put like 2 years of planning behind this like murder mystery arc, And we flamed out on the murder part of the murder mystery after about a session and a half and decided we wanted to go do battle bots with the Victorian Regency battle bot ring. And that was supposed to be like a throwaway thing that was just there. And we're like, no, we want to go build our own robots and fight them to the death in this like Victorian battle bot. And the game master was just like, why? Why did I put 2 years into this elegantly crafted murder mystery that was going to get you guys in and out of politics and travel? It's like, nope, we want to go hang out with the crooks and do fighting ring stuff. And so it's like, yeah, best laid plans.
It shouldn't make the alternative sound so interesting,
right? Right. It's like we are not at fault here. You have battle bots, and we want to go do battle bots, and
you had battle bots,
right? Right, like murder mystery, no battle bots, which make so now JM, you're gonna have to totally give up on like what happened to Reeg, and then we're gonna have like Old West battle bots now, and
I mean
it's not in the box. Like there are no battle bots in this, but now there have to be because.
But that'll be our big cliffhanger at the end, where the group like stares across the plains at the giant mechanical spider bot, and we'll just fade to black, and that'll be.
It can be the next campaign.
That's right.
Start a Wild West battle bots adventure.
We kind of need this now. So you mentioned. Go ahead, Dave.
I was gonna say, like in Salt Lake City, like we'll place it right in the middle of Hellstrom's thing. There's an underground steampunk BattleBot arena. Yeah,
it totally fits.
I'm in.
I mean, if he's doing what he's doing, you got to keep the masses satisfied and distracted. And so totally, BattleBots totally fits in. Like he's got the tech, he's got the money for it. Sponsorship, all the whole thing.
Yeah.
Energy drinks splashed on. Splash on the sponsorship thing. Yeah.
And then and unfortunately, your bot gets destroyed. Now you've gone into debt to him, and if you want to get out from under it, all you have to do is, there you go.
Yes. Oh, this is so good.
Yep. We'll write this. We'll do this.
Right. Shane, make it a thing. We'll make it so.
Yes.
So Lily, you mentioned playtesting one of JM's creations, which are all fantastic, by the way. But have you ever considered writing your own and doing your own kind of thing?
I think just by the fact that I've been doing this for 4 years, I'm just not familiar enough with the gaming mechanics, which is why I like participating in these streaming games, because JM's like, yeah, if you got questions, go ahead and ask them. Like, we're trying to bring new people in to like watch the stream and get invested in the game. And so, I've played with a number of people who are really good at the mechanics and really good at, understanding how the system works. But for me, it's more casual and not. So no, I haven't ever considered writing my own adventures, but I have running some.
What would you like to run? Yes.
Probably I've got a couple friends at work who are like, yeah, I'd really like to play more RPGs, but I just don't have anybody to play with. And I was like, I could probably run a one shot or, a little short campaign. So we'll see.
Awesome. Well, if you do get the edge, so let's pretend you get the edge. So don't worry about mechanics, right? Because mechanics, you can fix those later. What genres would interest you the most in exploring if you wanted to?
When I play the games, I like to solve the mysteries. So Headstone Hill has been really good for that because, it's us trying to figure out where'd Reegs go and, can we find this gang and, get rid of them and what's going on.
You have Headstone Hill now.
Right. Yes. Right. So that's been good.
That's like the hardest one.
Right.
It really is. Mystery is like the hardest one to keep interesting. Because players do crazy stuff. Like,
it does depend on the players too. Because if you've seen the ones that like Maddie and I played Torg, and we're like, we're gonna go off and do mystery investigation, and everybody else is like, let's have a fight. So it depends on your players, because if they don't want to do the mystery, then they're not going to enjoy the game that you're running.
Lily, I think you should take the Savage Worlds rules and just set it in Discworld, because Discworld so well and you love Discworld. You could just run a fantasy game in Discworld with Savage Worlds. Savage Discworlds.
I bet somebody has a Discworld RPG. I bet they have.
They do. There's a GURPS one. It is.
So have you played GURPS before, Lily?
Mm-mm.
Oh, so it's okay. In my opinion, it makes the best characters ever, because you can describe your character on the character sheet. I mean, you can read a character sheet, and this is a fully fledged character, because almost every aspect of their life can be numberified on a character sheet.
Mhm.
It is, I mean, it is amazing. But the problem with GURPS is because every little thing can be crunchified, preparing for GURPS as a game master is like arduous because there's no like Savage Worlds is easy. It's like mooks, like, oh, just D6 and everything, or whatever. That don't have to worry about it. Like that's
One
easy.
hit takes them out. Yeah.
Right. GURPS, it's like, no, you need to make an entire fledged out character for pretty much everything you come across, because what if your players use this and use that and they do this? So there's not, it is like Savage Worlds and Torg similarly, like they point by. So you have like edges and hindrances become benefits and disadvantages, or advantages and disadvantages. Same kind of concept of like your character can do cool things. Your character has these hindrances, these limitations, and then skills very much the same. But then like hit locations are a thing, and like rules for like if you get hit in the hand, but the hand is really only worth so many hit points. So if you get hit in the hand for like 95 hit points, like does any of that transfer onto the next region? And so combat.
My flat out favorite sidebar, because GURPS was one of the first rule books that I had that I actually ran. There was this whole sidebar in the middle of the combat chapter titled "The Problem with Picks," and basically it was, if you crit somebody with an impaling weapon, here are the chances that your weapon gets stuck in them, and here's how strong here's the roll you have to make to remove the weapon. And I was like, wow, this
I thought about this for a while.
That's right.
Well, and that's the best part of GURPS is like Savage Worlds and Torg. Like it's one of those early RPGs that really said, let's get a system together, and then you can play whatever you want with it, which is great. I love those. I mean, yes, there is something to be said for systems that are so tailored to their one genre. But like when people like do D&D and they're like, let's make D&D do space and do everything, and it's like sometimes it suffers because it's really designed for fantasy. The GURPS went like, no, you can do anything. So love it for that. And then because they put out these splat books that were like, here's how to do like Knights of the Holy Grail. Here's how to do Arabian Nights. Here's how to do space. Here's how to do, and like, Egypt. Here's Rome. Here's like, and they were like really well researched. They really had some cool, like you said, like someone investigated the study on putting a spear through a pig and how hard it was to pull out, and if the tip would break, and like they gave you that info in the book. So that was what it was great, because like if you wanted to do that genre, you'd buy that splat book. But it is not fast, and that's what I like about Savage Worlds. Is like you can get through a combat and then do something else with your evening instead of like, oh no, buckle down. We're gonna do rounds. Are gonna take at least 7 or 8 minutes a piece. No. So, anyways, GURPS is fun. You should play it once, but stick with Torg and Savage Worlds, because that's the new hotness. You can you could have your combat and your face-to-face time too.
Yeah.
Right.
And, so goodness. So yes, so your program. So like, did JM know that you were into the mysteries before he selected you for the show, JM?
Yeah, because the very first show we were trying to get up on Iconic that never went live was a Dark Eye game, and we were recording all of it. And at the last second, Ulysses was like, "Stop! We don't want you to do a Dark Eye game. We want you to do a Fading Suns game." But I had this giant murder mystery set up in the Warring Kingdoms of the Dark Eye world. And my players would come in, and we had turned one wall of the studio into a conspiracy board, because they were like, okay, wait a second. We know that this guy said this. And like, it was an amazing game, and I loved every second of it. And the fact that it now exists in limbo somewhere hurts just a little bit.
Yeah,
but
we need to push to get this released.
Yeah, I knew Lily liked that. And then again, when we were playing Torg, and really when I got her into the Fading Suns game, she was far more interested in why things were going on than like how to stop them, if that makes sense. Like I drew her into the mystery that we were doing in the Fading Suns game, which was about this like erased saint and this clues that the saint had left to possibly like do something. And they figured out that they were going to reignite a star, which would bring hope to the galaxy. And so once I got that in, I was like, cool, Lily will like the mystery side of horror at Headstone Hill. And I told everybody, guys, like, our focus on this game is this is a mystery. So yeah, I'm going to weave in all of these little story bits that you've given me, because we didn't, when I said, hey, you guys want to play Deadlands, here are the archetypes to look through. We showed up for our first session and everyone had a backstory. And it was like, okay, by the way, we're also running this campaign box, but I will do what I can to tie this all in. And so I'm like, I know Lily would be involved, like enjoy the mystery, and JD loves mysteries. I didn't really know what Bob was going to like. Bob just enjoys the role-playing aspect of it, which is very clear. And Rook has just been dying to play Savage Worlds as long as I've known him. So when I was able to bring him in on this and he brought me this great Harrowed character, I'm like, cool, I've got combat covered, I've got my mystery covered, and I've got my role-playing covered. And everyone, I mean, it's a Venn diagram, right? It all overlaps.
Right.
But yeah.
No, I love that. I mean, like, you're the right guy to do this, and Lily is definitely the right player to get into this. So Lily, where do you see Ada going in the next episode? What do you think? I mean, what's
in the next episode?
Yeah.
Well, I think we've got to make some catastrophic decisions. Wicker has he's off on his own, and I'm sure that Sister May is concerned about him. They've been traveling companions for longer than Leslie and Ada have been around. And we also can't have Wicker's, creating a situation for our, posse. So, not that we need to stop him, because Ada is definitely on board with vengeance.
That's
and
right.
stop her from vengeance, there would be more of a situation. But we gotta come up with a way to mitigate.
So have you found any conflict? Because you've got like Sister Don't Kill Him, and then you've got Ada who just like dishes out lead poisoning like there's no tomorrow. So the any inner character conflict over, like, should we show them mercy or should we show them the end of our shotguns?
I think not so far, because it's been pretty fast moving. I think there will be some conflict later.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Leslie is more of a happy-go-lucky kind of guy, and he's not necessarily there for, all of these people need to die, and I'm going to be the one to stick around.
That's right.
So,
although Leslie's possible Manitou influence, where he's like, I want to roll a die every time I see when I drop somebody. Did I kill them or did I give them mercy? I'm like, all right, I'm into it. Like, we'll see how Leslie kind of shakes out here by the end of it.
yeah.
Well, right. I mean, you got to feel for the good sister, because she's got a party where, like, Lily's character can kill it. I mean, right? Like, it could be, just point and shoot, done. And then the other two characters are both actively making deals with demons to maintain their, like, goodness, sanity, being in control of their own bodies. And yeah,
I'm curious how much of that Sister May has picked up on. We'll see if she knows what she knows about Wickers, but I mean, I think she does. But I'm not sure that she's fully aware of what's going on with Leslie. And we'll see how that impacts how JD plays that character. Because, she's, I think primarily Sister May is going to be the one who is like, I can't believe I've fallen in with these people.
I know, right? I mean, it's a great party you've assembled, and you just see where it could go, and it's which is, I mean, it's kind of what you want out of a game, right? I think striking the balance between story, plot, conflict. I mean, good conflict, because RPGs are about conflict, right? Good conflict, but driven by the plot and the NPCs, and then equaling the kind of inter-party challenges and fun, and like which characters are kind of going the same directions, which ones aren't. And so far it's been fantastic, and I look forward to where it goes. So I'm just, we're in mere moments. We will get to episode 4. Do you have a title for episode 4 yet, or are we only titling this after we see what happens?
I don't have a good title yet. Okay. I've got a little bit of time to figure that out. So hopefully when we go live, I'll make the announcement of the title.
Okay, good. Or you can wait. You can see what happens. It'll be like episode 4 when it all goes to hell. Like,
that's right.
Like literally, figuratively.
Professor Bob, no.
Right, no, Bob, we liked you. But I'm just kind of sad that we were all in Colorado Springs at one point and didn't get the game together. So but this kind of makes up for it. I think it's fantastic to see you guys play. And so, yeah, thank you, Lily, for joining us, and thank you, JM. It's been
Always.
a great stream so far. So we look with much anticipation on what's going to happen in mere moments. Episode 4 of Horror at Headstone Hill, the actual play. And so then, yeah, guys, so we're not going to be back the week of July 4th because holiday. And but then the week after that, we'll be back. And so cheers, folks.